A reminder on our live schedule all this week from Super Bowl 58. Stay locked in for PFT directly after us, followed by Brother from Another at 3 p.m. Eastern. We're back at it again tomorrow after Dan Patrick. Also, a reminder, Bet the Edge, Roto World Football Show, and Chris Sims Unbuttoned will also be taping in Vegas all week long, so be sure to check them out as well. Who's eating good? Served by Applebee's, fellas. Let's take a look at the top Super Bowl DFS plays on the board. And Matthew, no surprise to see Christian McCaffrey with the Godfather price of $12,000. But is it worth paying up for, is the question.
Yeah, I mean, personally, he's Christian McCaffrey. It depends on where else you want to go here. Like, I do think he's worth it, right? He's had 2 of the top 5 fantasy performances in the playoffs from a non-quarterback, right? He's averaging over 30 fantasy points per game in the playoffs this year. Every playoff game he's played this year, 125 yards from scrimmage and 2 touchdowns in each playoff game. As we talked about earlier in the week, Brock Purdy, when he's blitzed, loves to check down, and so we expect them to bring a lot of pressure, and so I do think McCaffrey will be used quite a bit. It's a steep price, but I don't mind paying up for, if I'm going to pay up for anyone, pay up for McCaffrey.
Yeah, Jay, you think the volume will be huge for this one? I mean, it's Christian McCaffrey. Why hold back now?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, his rushing prop is set at 91.5. That's quite high, and I think justified, and obviously he's going to get the goal line work. The other thing, too, is that in not just the Super Bowl, in the playoffs in general, like your best players, they just stay on the field for longer. I don't think McCaffrey's coming off the field in this game unless he gets injured. Now, that's always the concern with McCaffrey. I mean, he had the weird thing with his neck in the game against Detroit. Been dealing with the calf thing, but with the time off that he's had, you'd expect he'd be full go against a Chiefs run defense that is pretty suspect. And I would certainly expect that the 49ers are going to give McCaffrey more than 6 running back carries that the Ravens gave their guys.
Lawrence, right after McCaffrey is Mahomes. No surprise there, $10,600. I mean, Purdy still $10,000. How do you kind of distinguish the two of who you pick?
It's interesting because it's not like Mahomes is putting up vintage Mahomes numbers in each playoffs, but Jared Goff and Jordan Love was able to have success against this 49ers defense in the first half. A guy like Mahomes could take that through, so it's when you got a running back like Christian McCaffrey priced higher, you kind of feel like Patrick Mahomes is starting to be a value now. He looked great against Baltimore in the first half. I feel like the Baltimore Ravens defense is better than the Niners defense, so you're gonna and this is the Super Bowl. This is Patrick Mahomes' time, so you gotta love it.
I think the other thing with Mahomes is that, so in the playoffs, it statistically bears out, he scrambles a lot more in the playoffs relative to the regular season, so that's just additional rushing yardage that you're banking that you wouldn't otherwise be able to count on.
That's a good point.
I don't mind stacking Mahomes and Kelce, either as well. Obviously, if you're going to do that, you're not going to be able to afford Christian McCaffrey unless you want,
Elijah Mitchell?
Yeah, Elijah, exactly.
You start them both,
CMC
and Elijah Mitchell.
Right,
Start them both.
There you go. But yeah, I don't mind stacking those guys. I mean, Kelce's really interesting, right? He's had 3 career games against the Niners with Mahomes as his quarterback. He's averaging at least 6 receptions. He's had at least 6 receptions in all of them, at least 15 fantasy points in those 3 games against the 49ers as well. And now back-to-back games with 24 or more fantasy points, which is, it feels like for a little while they were like, is he done? But now it's playoff time. It's Kelce time. He's really turned it on.
Yeah, and guys, I think what you're trying to figure out in this, Lawrence, is, on the other side of it is George Kittle, which is a cheaper option, but at the end of the day, feels like there's a lot more variance with Kittle compared to what we see from Kelce in the playoffs.
It is variance with Kittle now, but if you look at the totality of the season, Kittle was an all-pro, went over 1,000 yards this season, and Brock Purdy's going to need him this game, probably next after Christian McCaffrey, so you're definitely going to get the value there. But obviously Kelce has, again, he's went vintage himself as well.
The other thing that you have to think about, is it sort of, are you doing a head-to-head contest, or are you entering a GPP where there's going to be, hundreds of thousands of entries, and so if you're doing something like that, you want variance. Fine, Juwan Jennings is my captain. Seriously, you're going to have to get weird, right? Because so many people are going to go with the obvious big names.
Yeah. Speaking of kind of getting weird and some variance, yesterday I was talking to Rufus Peabody, who's a professional bettor. He's probably going to have more money on Super Bowl props than anyone on planet Earth, and he was telling me that he makes Christian McCaffrey about a 9% chance to get injured in this game. And so if you want some variance, Elijah Mitchell, 9% chance Elijah Mitchell becomes the bell cow running back for the Niners against the poor Chiefs defense. So I think there's worse things you can do there.
Rufus is really, really smart. I will say this. I worked with him at ESPN for a little while. I've known him for a long time. Rufus is as smart as they come.
He's very clever.
DraftKings Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL, and for Super Bowl 58, new customers can bet $5 and win $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the app and use the promo code Barry when you sign up. DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours. Wow, the four-man yell.
Yes.
That is some
Like
powerful.
a little barbershop
Yes, sir.
quartet.
Yeah, there you go. All right, how about some pickup lines? Speaking of DraftKings
it's Vegas.
Sportsbook,
Yes.
that's
Who
right.
wants to bring me home in Vegas?
That's right. I'm even sitting this one out. All right, Lawrence, kick it off here.
Hey, we
Vegas
in-
is filled with bad decisions.
Like
Let's
you
go.
said, man, we in Vegas, man. We got to bet big. And the guy we didn't just talk about was Isaiah Pacheco. He scored in every game this playoffs, right? And the 49ers defense has given up 3 rushing touchdowns in each of the past 2 games. So I'm going Isaiah Pacheco, 2 touchdowns.
Whoa.
2 touchdowns at plus 475. Again, the Niners have given up 3 of those in their last 2 playoff games. Pacheco, he get 2 of them.
All right.
Okay, well, last pickup lines for the year, I believe, so I'm going to dance with the one who brought me. Been singing Brock Purdy's praises all season long, perhaps to my own detriment, but my pickup line is Brock Purdy over 12.5 rushing yards. So he went 6 for 48 yards last week before that, 14, but he's had 6 and 5 carries in the playoffs. I think that when you look at his season stats, like it's not very impressive for his scrambling. He just hasn't needed to throw because they've been destroying teams. In the 3-game losing streak the Niners had earlier in the season, 6, 5, and 3 carries from Purdy. And also another thing that, like, if you think Purdy's going to be nervous in this game, which I think is probably a reasonable expectation, some of his scrambles against the Lions in particular, like he was looking at open guys and taking off. Like, I think that was nerves. I think that he will take off against Spags' blitzers. And it's just, I think it's a useful element of his game that hasn't really been emphasized that much. So give me Brock Purdy over 12.5 rushing yards.
Both really good bets. I will say this. I think Lawrence, if you hadn't gotten greedy, and if you just said Pacheco anytime touchdown.
It's negative, though. You know I don't do negative. I don't do minus.
You are plus money Lawrence Jackson as well. I get it. I like the bet. I actually like the bet. I'm going to place the bet, but I'm going home with Jay. You know, we had magic in Buffalo. We're going to have magic in Vegas.
Yes.
You've successfully picked me up. I agree with that. I do think they will try to blitz. I think Spagnuolo is going to really try to blitz Purdy and try to bring him off his game, and there'll be some scrambles there. So 12.5 is a little higher, but right to your point, we saw it last week. Give me Brock Purdy over 12.5. That's the. But I'm going to bet both those bets. I do like both of them. Pickup lines has been insanely successful all year long.
We got to get a percentage.
We really need to tally
these.
that up.
Yeah,
we need to tally this up. This would be good marketing material for the show.
Ones too.
We'd be hitting at 75%.
It's been unreal, and Lawrence especially, with a lot of your plus money bets have come through in big
money,
ways.
baby.
Plus money, yeah. So both those ones are good. You have a bet that you like for the Super Bowl?
I was on Purdy rushing. I actually might look at the alt line when it goes to it.
Yeah.
So 12.5 is where it is. It's starting to move to about minus 125, minus 130.
40 plus? Let's get weird.
That would be wild. How about 20 plus?
You go 20
plus, get it at plus money, take a page out of
Yeah.
Lawrence's playbook. I really, really like that. I wonder where Pacheco's attempts are going to land at, too.
It's like 16.5.
I would go over that immediately.
Yeah.
I mean, they are just leaning on him. This is a Chiefs team that is, their identity is different. They are a power, run-heavy team.
Yeah.
Tooney probably being out, that makes you a little nervous, but I don't think they get away from their identity.
They didn't get away from it against the Ravens.
They didn't care.
Isaiah Pacheco didn't have a high yards per carry. At one point, he had 16 carries for 47 yards. So, they're going to run the ball. They have to.
Yep. Little bonus one as well. If you like the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, which you two do. Do you like
Yes,
the Chiefs?
yes,
Do you like,
I do, yeah.
I'm
Wow.
riding with the
Right on
Niners.
Island.
It's a 2-point favorites. When I tell people I like the Niners, it's like I'm taking the Jags to beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. It's like they're the Niners. They're the 2-point favorites for a reason. But if you do like the Chiefs, I would prefer to bet them at plus money to win the first half. So think about how good their scripted offense looked against Baltimore, how shaky the Niners have looked in the first halves of both of their playoff games. So that would be my look. If you want to bet the Chiefs, I would prefer to take them in the first half.
Yeah, that was my first bet when we did opening lines.
Yep.
I like
Chiefs
that.
first half money line is still
I like that
good
one
money.
as well.
Good
Yeah.
money. We got a loaded day tomorrow, guys.
Dude,
loaded
ridiculous day tomorrow.
We're going to talk
Matthew's
to
in trouble.
Yeah. You need. I mean,
I know.
you'll be good.
We'll see.
No
Well, we have
worries.
plans tonight. We have big plans tonight, so
We
you
do.
guys will have to keep me under
keep you in
wraps.
line.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all of us as
Yep.
well. So that'll be
All
fun. We'll save that story for for tomorrow morning.
Oh, it's good.
Yeah, we'll tell Matt Ryan.
Yeah. Matthew's
Sure, Matt
son.
Ryan.
The GOAT, Matt Ryan.
there you go.
So for the first time, you'll be on this set with a better Matthews. How do you feel about that?
Not sure I agree with it, but it depends on, he is a pretty good broadcaster.
He's a better quarterback. You're a better fantasy analyst.
Exactly.
Probably.
But broadcaster, he's probably better than me as well. That's the thing. It's just like, literally, like, whatever.
No, I'm looking forward to it. You've started to throw with a bit more heat in Las Vegas. Made the Dan Harron comparison earlier. Now you're creeping up more to Joel Zamaya.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Appreciate that very much. But yeah, Emmitt Smith. I can just yell at him for all the years
Crosby?
he killed my Washington football team as well.
Max Crosby.
Max Crosby, that'll be fun.
That's a big
that'll
one.
Be,
I didn't even know
that'll be
about
great.
that one.
Jeez,
That'll be
we're
very
interviewing
good.
him. Get
Hey,
questions
I should
ready.
be promoting that.
It's closing time. You don't have to go home, but you can
Who
stay
writes
here.
these?
Thank you, Jalen Hyatt, Kendrick Board, Puka Nakua, Peacocky winner, Lawrence Jackson, Connor Rogers, Jay Croucher. I'm Matthew Berry. We will see you tomorrow live from Las Vegas. Peace out. Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotorWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Roto-World fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.